and welcome to the Autocar Show. Now, the BMW 1 Series was just launched in India amongst a lot of fanfare, with Sachin Tendulkar driving the car up on stage. And I'm going to bring that to you a little later on the show. But for now, it's the car that's the star. You saw Karthik drive it earlier on and he had his opinion, but of course a lot of things change. The Indian package is always very different. So let's take it out and see what it's all about.